I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Fox 59 released about 2.5 minutes of police traffic from the incident. We're going to go through it. I'm going to play the whole thing. We'll listen to it, and then we'll go back through it and play it, and I'm going to stop it. I'm going to break some stuff down and talk to you about a couple things.
Whitestown, yes, server 4283 Maze Lane, 4283 Maze Lane. I have a male on the phone saying, please send the police now, there's somebody breaking in. Whitestown units, he is telling me that it appears to be two Hispanic males trying to break in. That's all he could see, I'm sure, on weapons.
943, 1023. Dispatch 510, start next.
943, 510, can you advise?
Dispatch, we got one shot. Dispatch, where's the homeowner?
He's still on TX with dispatch for seeing where the gun is and having him come down. He's upstairs in the bedroom. Hey, firm, we've got dispatch on the line with him. They're attempting to get him out now. Whitestown units information. The suspect is scared to open the door. He does not see officers. He's asking you guys to take him into custody at the back door.
Have him walk out the back door and choose the backyard.
Clear 7704. Medic 272, ladder 271, 7704. Lawson's asking you to stay in the area. There was a male shot. The subject is not in custody or detained at this time.
I am. I can still hear him crying by the front door. He's not moved. Dispatch, if you're on the phone with him still, tell him to come to the back door with his hands up outside, please.
I'm trying to get him to come to the back door. He is continuously talking about the person laying on the front porch and the officers having their guns pointed. He does not want to come out the back door.
Dispatch, where is he at in the house?
He's upstairs in the middle of the house in the loft.
Yeah, the male with a gunshot wound behind the white van. He got a gunshot wound to the head. Is it possible to get a spotlight on the top windows here?
If you have an officer free to drag this victim behind this house across the street, we can intercept at behind the house across the street.
Law enforcement on scene, Maze. Ladder 231 is asking if you guys get the subject behind the house across the street so they can help.
I don't think that's possible right now.
I've got the male walking out.
No, Megan. You listen. You've got to stop putting your thoughts into. You've got to just listen to it for what it is, and don't. The police officer clearly says the man that's crying was behind the door. You can't attribute. And if you heard there, the police officer even stated that the victim shot was the police officer even called that person a male. You have to understand, we all now have the freedom and the goodwill and the ability to Monday morning quarterback this and say, well, it was not a male. It was a female, and she's definitely the victim because she speaks Spanish, and we know everything going on, and it was a dirty white guy inside that did this, and he loved it because he hates Mexicans. No. When your heart rate is going 115 beats a minute because you feel like someone's breaking in your door and you're looking out during dusk and all of this stuff's going on, perception is a bitch, and you've really got to pay attention to that. And people out there that aren't part of the scene that sees things are horrible eyewitnesses. Now, add to that, you're being the one that's quote unquote being victimized and your stress levels through the roof. You don't know what. So for this person to say that he thinks that he sees two Hispanic males, well, he was half right because one of them was. So maybe he saw the husband and only saw the body of the woman, but didn't see, because she had a coat on or she had a hood up or her she's been over. So I don't think anything's nefarious. I don't think that's nefarious, him saying, I don't think he's lying. I think when he's talking to dispatch, he's saying, I see two Hispanic males, and I think that's what's going on there. So we it is, and let it be, and then get the other puzzle pieces when they come out and plug them into what we know and hope that we then have enough to where we can see the picture on the box. We got a few more seconds of this.
On the stairs, he and his wife are going to be walking out the back door here in just a second.
Clear. I'm on the back side of the house. Someone come over here with me if they're coming out.
He is going to have his cell phone in his hand when he walks outside.
Hey, tell him to drop that. Don't have anything in his hands.
Don't have anything.
He and his wife should be coming out the back door here in just a second. Be calling under on dispatch too.
But why are people believing that this could have been racially motivated? The reason that people believe that this could be racially motivated is because the homeowner is a white person, the victim is a Hispanic, and it's 2025. That's the only reason why this is being racially motivated. No one knows enough to know that. No one knows enough to know that. The name's out there. Find out if this guy belonged to a bunch of hate groups or he was posting, derogatory stuff. His name's out there. It's out there. People can find it. I've not found anything that's connected this guy to a hate group. So, no, unfortunately, Jack, the police weren't involved in this one. This was a civilian on civilian thing. So, no police narrative there.
So just coming out of the back door. 526 requesting 2 additional.
Dispatch, we have 2 detained.
Person on scene, May's information. Medics are advising patient is 10-0.
If people are breaking into your house, I'm going to say people are breaking in, not Hispanics, unless, Megan, you see them and you believe one of them is to be Hispanics. So the problem here is we're not hearing. First thing, let's break this call down, okay? We're getting 2 minutes and 35 seconds. We're getting 2 minutes and 35 seconds of dispatch traffic. There's a whole nother 5 or 7 minutes of the whole craziness that is left out of this. There's also no audio from the caller to dispatch. All we hear is dispatch talking to the police talking to dispatch. So the very first thing that happened when I found this, okay, I don't know that you're making an observation. I think you're making a preconceived bias. I think you are putting your preconceived bias in this. And you're trying to take it where you want it to go rather than saying what's happening here. Because what you have to do is you have to look at this for what it is. First of all, you can't make any assumptions based off this because we don't have a full picture here. So when I heard this, the first thing I thought was, interesting. Where did this let me explain to you why I'm on you behind, because you make a lot of assumptions. You want me to be real honest with you? You want to talk some real talk here for a moment? You're in a world where as a younger person, you make a bunch of assumptions and put a lot of shit on it, and that's your preconceived notion. And then say a lot of things that can be harmful to the situation. And if you're somebody that wants to do what you're doing, you should. I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to help you out. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not being mean to you. I'm trying to help you. And maybe I'm not sugarcoating it, but that's not. I'm not here to sugarcoat it. That's not what. That's not what this is. I'm talking to you like I would talk to anybody else that would make posts calling this murder. We don't know that this is murder. So first and foremost, we have not heard the entire 911 call. So for anybody to listen to all 2 minutes and 35 seconds and say, I know what happened, that can't be done. Okay? So far, the only people that know what happened is totally in this are the police and the prosecutor, because the victim only knows what the victim saw, and the people inside the house only know what they saw. Only the police talk to both sides and put all of the evidence together know both sides of that if they're getting the full truth of it. But I can even point out here where there are some serious issues, and it should be enough to make somebody go, I wonder what's going on. Okay, so let's take this back and let's listen to it. So first of all, remember, the very first thing I did when I saw this, I thought, wait a minute, this isn't everything. Why? If somebody has this, they've cut it down, why don't you just release the entirety of the call? The fact... Okay, see that, and that's why I got a problem with you, because you got your feelings hurt and you're going to run away. This is not a place for you. If you, that's go, you're right. Go play, and we'll do a grown-up shit here. All right. No, I am attacking her intelligence. I am doing that. I am doing that. If someone is willing to throw the words out there and is not willing to listen and understand where their preconceived notions come in, that's not an intelligent thought. So let's go through this, okay? Let's listen.
It says for 4283 Maze Lane, 4283 Maze Lane. I have a mail on the phone saying, please send the police now. There's somebody breaking.
Okay, so the very first thing, the dispatcher says, units, Whitestown units, respond to the address at Maze Lane. I have a subject on the phone that says that there are, let's go back and listen. To get it all right.
On the phone saying, please send the
police now. This is what the dispatcher's saying.
Please now, there's somebody breaking in.
There's somebody breaking in. Okay, so that's what he told the dispatch. Hey, please, someone's breaking in my house. Someone's breaking in my house. The dispatch, and please understand, I know this because I am a former police officer. I have been a patrol officer. I have been an investigator officer. I've investigated felonies of all kinds. I have been a sex crimes investigator and a narcotics investigator and an investigator in the Delaware County Prosecutor's Office. I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. I'm not armchair quarterbacking this. I'm not just somebody flipping through Facebook. I'm talking with some experience here. Okay? So when the caller is telling dispatch, please hurry, someone's breaking into my house, the very first thing dispatch is going to say is, do you know who it is? Who's breaking into your house? Do you have a description? And they're going to try and tell this person if they can look safely to see if they can give a description. So this person's all amped up. I guarantee you he's speaking, if it's a male speaking on the phone, I believe it is, from what we're hearing here, he's probably speaking a mile a minute, and he's probably looking and he's probably hurrying, and he whatever he saw made him believe that it was two Hispanic males. Okay. So then you've also got to understand that then dispatch has to reiterate what he's saying to police. Generally in this area, I don't know, but this is my assumption. They have a 911 call taker who's talking to the person and typing this in. Then that goes to the dispatcher. The 911 call taker is not the same person dispatching this to the police. You have a call taker and a dispatcher. So you've got one human listening and talking to the person and typing in, and then you've got the person B who's reading this and reiterating it to the police. So first and foremost, there are a couple that's the game of telephone. The homeowner tells the operator information. The operator types it into the computer. Could that operator have typed in an error? We don't know. We'll have to see. Could the dispatcher have read something as an error? Could she have put her own spin on it? That stuff happens. Okay, so that's what, first and foremost, there is someone breaking in. That's the first thing we hear. Okay, we'll move on here.
Like, he is telling me that it appears to be two Hispanic males.
He's telling me that it appears to be two Hispanic males. Okay, there was a little bit of delay in there. First of all, we don't know how long the delay was there because this has been edited. So could that have been a minute? Could it have been 30 seconds? We don't know. But I guarantee you the call taker asked him to try and identify the people breaking in. So that's when he says it appears to be two Hispanic males. Okay. And Kate, if there's anything popping up, I'm specifically not reading anything to not get thrown off. If there's anything interesting, star it, and we'll get done when I get done with this. Appears to be two Hispanic males. Okay, so now that's there.
Trying to break in. That's all he could see. Unsure on.
That's all he could see. Unsure on weapons. So he's not seeing anything in their hands. Whatever. Okay.
543, 1020.
Okay. The police unit, his unit number is 543. So he gets on and says 543. That's him identifying himself. He says 1023. That means he is on scene. That's police talk, police radio code for I'm arriving. So he says 543, I'm arriving. Now, when police officers say that, they're not saying it right when they walk up to the scene. He's saying it as he's getting to the neighborhood. And he tells them, I'm here, and he could still be driving for just a minute before he gets there, like a couple seconds. We don't know. They normally like to try to do that so they could be watching and making sure that they've got situational observation and that they're aware, that they're not rolling up and getting shot, okay? So he says that he's on scene.
510, medics.
He then, so then 510 is another officer. He says dispatch 510. So he's calling dispatch. That would me saying like Kate Bilbrey. So he says dispatch 510, start medics.
943, 510.
And then dispatch says 510, can you advise?
Dispatch, we got one shot.
And then he says dispatch, we've got one shot.
Yes, where's the homeowner?
Okay, another officer on scene apparently says, guys, where's the homeowner? Now, we never heard him arrive. Maybe he didn't notify them that he arrived because it's a hot scene. We don't know, but he says, guys, where's the homeowner? He could be talking to the officers. He could be talking to the dispatchers. We go on.
He's still on TX with this.
Dispatch says he's still on TX with dispatch. Now, it gets really important here. Listen.
Dispatch for seeing where the gun is and having.
Dispatch is seeing where the gun is and having him. Now, listen to what they say here. This is really important. So when dispatch is doing this, and whether the caller says, I have my gun out, or the caller says, hey, I've already shot somebody, the dispatch, when police get on the scene, dispatch will tell them to unload the gun or put the gun down, hide the gun, lock the gun away, and come, because they don't want them coming out to the police with a gun and then getting shot. Now, what's interesting here at this point, we didn't hear the gunshot. We didn't hear all that. So they've cut that out. I've got a real problem with this. I've got a really problem with this. Max Lewis is a great journalist. I have a real problem if he has this and he has edited it. I've got a real problem with that. They need to put out the entirety of what's happening, and I'll talk more about that here in a minute. So we're going to back this up and listen to what goes on here.
Dispatch, we got one shot.
Dispatch, we've got one shot.
Yes, where's the homeowner?
Guys, where's the homeowner?
He's still on TX with dispatch for.
He's still on TX with dispatch. Now listen here. We're
seeing where the gun is and having.
We're seeing where the gun is and having him
come down. He's upstairs in the.
Having him come down. He's upstairs in the bedroom. Ding, 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 ding. Doesn't that seem strange? He's upstairs in the bedroom. So how did the caller, he, just shoot somebody downstairs at the door? Okay. Could he have been upstairs, ran down, shot, and ran back upstairs? Absolutely. We'll have to find that out. I don't know. We'll have to find that out. But listen, that's very interesting that dispatch at this moment is saying that he's upstairs in the bedroom. That's very interesting. But continue on listening here, okay?
He's gone to extra dispatch for seeing where the gun is and having him come down. He's upstairs in the bedroom.
Now, he knows where the gun is, but dispatch is trying to locate and make sure that he's putting it away. But they're having him come down. He's still upstairs. He's upstairs in the bedroom.
Hey, firm, we've got dispatch on the line.
Now, I don't know who this is that says, affirm, we've got dispatch on the line with him. Maybe this is medics.
They're attempting to get him out now.
Or police. They're attempting to get him out now. They're reiterating more information. Okay.
Whitestown units information. The suspect.
Whitestown units information. The subject is scared. Listen what it says.
Bedroom. Hey, firm, we've got dispatch on the line with him. They're attempting to get him out now. Whitestown units information. The suspect is scared to open the door. He does not see officers. He's asking you.
He's scared to open the door. He does not see officers. He's asking you guys to take him into custody.
Right, to take him into custody at the back.
At the back. So we're missing another part of the conversation here where dispatch has told him the officers are going to take you into custody. You need to not have anything in your hands. Come out with your hands up. They'll take you into custody. It doesn't mean you're under arrest. They're just going to do that to clear the house and make sure everything's okay and just be calm. So they're telling them that this is what they're trained to do. And so through their conversation, the guy's like, I don't see officers. I don't want to go out the front door. Have them take me into custody at the back. The homeowner has said this. All right. So listen.
Door.
Have him walk out the back door into his backyard.
Have him walk out the back door into the backyard. The officer says that very clear.
Clear 7704. Medic 272, letter 2.
Okay, and so she says clear. Now she starts reading off a bunch of crap to fire and to medics. That's what all this stuff is. Medic, ladder, and these are unit numbers.
271, 7704.
Law enforcement is asking you to stage.
Law enforcement asking you to stage in the area.
Stage in the area, which is very common. When there's an active hot scene with a possible shooter, this is going to be heartbreaking to a lot of people. In an active shooter situation, whether it be someone with a gun at a mall or a movie or at a school or this, if someone breaks into your house and they got a gun or you got a gun and a gunshot's fired and someone's sitting there bleeding, paramedics don't roll up into that piece until the cops have everybody handcuffed and they know what's going on. So people are sitting there bleeding out. And that's sad, but it's true because you can't send paramedics into that scene while the shit's hot and get them all shot because then what's that going to do? So they're having them go to the area, but they stage in the area. Okay. Keep on rolling. All right, let's go.
There was a male shot. The subject is not in custody.
Okay. So listen to that. Let's talk about that wrong information. Dispatch just told EMS that there was a male shot. Okay. There was a male shot. So now dispatch is giving out this information. Karen, custody just means you can be detained. It just means you're being handcuffed. So when the scene is hot and they don't know who's who and somebody's shooting, they don't know who's who. So if they got a person down on the ground, it's really not. They're going to take them into custody. They're not free to go at the moment. They're going to handcuff them. And in a few moments, once they realize what's happening, they realize who people are, then they'll uncuff the people that don't need to be handcuffed. It's just common police talk for what happens. You're not arrested. You're detained for the moment.
You're detained at this time.
Okay. So there's law enforcement's asking paramedics to stage in the area.
Yeah, there was a male shot.
There was a male shot. Now, police are already there, so they don't know what's happening. I mean, we still believe dispatch and everybody else still believes there's two males. one of the males is shot.
Subject is not in custody or
Subject is not in custody. Subject is the homeowner because he is the shooter. And until they know that the scene is secure, they're taking it that the person with the gun could be a bad guy, and they're going to make sure that nobody else gets shot. At these scenes, the most important thing is making sure that no more crazy shit happens. That's the primary thing.
detained at this time.
I am. I can still hear him crying by the.
Now listen, I can still hear him crying by the front door. That's not the husband. He's talking about the man behind the door. He can hear him crying. Now that's strange because we got dispatch who says the caller is on the phone upstairs. The police officer can hear the guy crying, someone crying by the door. Okay. That's interesting. Cop did not say shot heard. He didn't say, the cop was not there when they heard a shot. We'll go back and play it all again at the end. I'm just breaking every line down real quick.
Custody or detained at this time.
I am. I can still hear him crying by the front door. He's not moved.
Dispatch, if you're on the phone with him still, tell him to come to the back door with his hands up outside, please.
I'm trying to get him to come to the back door. He is continuously talking about the person laying on the front porch and the officers having their guns pointed. He does not want to come out the back door.
Dispatch, where is he at in the house?
All right. Okay, this is going to be a big thing. This is going to be a really big thing here. Dispatch has said at least once the guy's upstairs. We know that a shot came through the door. We know that a police officer is on the porch. The victim is still bleeding on the porch, and police officers are on the porch. They're on the front and the backyard. And one officer is saying, I can still hear him. They're saying him crying by the front door. Now, listen to what dispatch says here. An officer said, where is he? If you're on the phone with him, tell him to come out the back. She said, he's still afraid. He sees you guys with your guns drawn. And they said, where is he at in the house? Listen to what dispatch says.
He's upstairs in the middle of the house in the loft.
He is upstairs in the middle of the house in the loft. No. Listen, no. Megan, when the police officers are in front, when the police officers are on the porch with the shot victim and the husband is with the police officer. The husband is not behind the door. The officer, the shot victim, and the husband are all on the porch. The man behind the door is inside the house. If the officer was inside the house, the man behind the door could very well be her husband. But since the officer is outside on the porch with the victim and with the husband, Maria's husband is not the man behind the door. And you cannot believe me all that you want, and it might take years, but I promise when this dispatch all comes out, I will absolutely be vindicated. I promise you, I swear to you. I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't be misleading you. The officer's on the porch. The victim's on the porch. The husband's on the porch. None of those people are behind the door. The homeowner's behind the door. Somebody is behind the door crying, and this person is now, because there's multiple people in the house. Keep that in mind. Okay?
Yeah, the male with a gunshot wound behind the white van.
Now, listen to that. They've literally, yes, you're aware that there's more than one person in the house, right? You're aware that, Megan, you sent me a video of this. You're not where I got this video. You're aware that this video has been floating around on social media, right? You're not the only person that communicates with me. I've communicated with 700 people today. I've been in meetings. I've talked to attorneys today. I have busy days. I don't just sit around waiting for one person to contact me. I've got a lot of stuff going on. Listen, this far into the scene, and the police officer who literally drugged the victim dragging a female victim, thinks that it's still a male. So do you think it's possible that this man thought it was a male? The police on scene dealing with the woman thinks it's still a male. Listen again.
The house.
He's upstairs in the middle of the house in the loft.
Yeah, the male with a gunshot wound behind the white van.
The male with the gunshot wound behind the white van. What?
You got a gunshot wound to the head. Is it possible to get a spotlight on the top windows here?
Is it possible? Is it possible to get a spotlight on the top windows here? So it must still be dark enough outside at 6:58 at this point, 6:59, that the officers are trying to spotlight with their side floodlight the up windows, because somebody is saying they're up on the phone upstairs.
If you have an officer free to drag this victim behind this house across the street, we can intercept.
Now they're going to drag the victim yet again from behind. So it was on the porch, drugged to the van. Now an officer is going to drag the victim behind another house so medics can go ahead and pick them up and get them going, because they must have been seeing time is not on our side.
That's behind the house across the street.
Law enforcement on scene, Maze, ladder 231 is asking if you guys get the subject behind the house across the street so they can help.
If you can get the suspect behind the house, we can help.
I don't think that's possible right now.
I don't think that's possible
I've got the male walking down the stairs. He and his wife are going to
I've got the male walking down the stairs. He and his wife
be walking out the back
are going to be
door
walking
here
out
in
the
just a
back
second.
door here in just a second.
So I'm on the back side of the house. Someone come over here with me if they're coming out.
He is going to have his cell phone in his hand when he walks outside.
Hey,
No.
tell him to drop that. Don't have anything in his hands.
Yeah, don't have anything.
He and his wife should be coming out the back door here in just a second. 600 on dispatch 2. So just coming out of the back door. 526 requesting 2 additional.
Dispatch for 2 detained.
They've detained,
Person on
they've
scene,
detained
Maze
people in the house.
information.
Okay.
Medics are advising patient is 10-0.
Medics are advising patient is 10-0, which means deceased. Okay. So that's the call. Still, I got a real big problem that there's a lot of this missing. So I sent a request to the Boone County Sheriff's Department today, who operate the 911 call center. And I said, hey, this is floating around out there. I would like to get a copy. What I specifically requested was a copy of the initial call, from the initial call time until they were taken into custody, all audio, all dispatch traffic from dispatch to the police, paramedics, fire, from the time the call came in until 8 a.m., and all traffic between officers, paramedics, and back and forth from the time they arrived on scene until 8 a.m. And the Boone County Sheriff's Department denied my request initially, straight up denied, saying that this was an active investigation. I then sent a message back stating Fox 59 has been playing bits and pieces of this, and it is it's been edited, and that's very harmful. So did you give this to them, or did they get this elsewhere? And the Boone County Sheriff's Department stated that they did not give that to them, so they must have got that someplace else. So what I'm thinking here, and it's a good possibility that whoever was at their news desk in their newsroom was listening to this, and when it popped off, they might have missed the first call or two, or first couple things, but they started recording it themselves. And if they did that, anybody can record dispatch traffic. If they did that, that's fine, but they've still edited it, and that's a problem. So I was thinking that maybe dispatch had given them an edited down tape, which I was going to have a problem with. But if the media has edited this, I still have a problem, and I wonder why it would be edited. So, and it's very possible that they got it from Broadcastify. I have a premium account to there and have access to the archives. I tell you, I don't know. I don't know if they normally. If Boone County normally pulls things down. I will tell you, I have never seen another police department to ever pull something off Broadcastify when there's something going on. I've just never seen that happen before. So if that happened down there for whatever reason, if that's something that goes on, or if they contact them and they do that, that would be very strange. I don't know. So I now have a message in to the reporter asking Max Lewis. I know Max, and I'm trying to find out, like, yo, what's the deal? What's going on with this? And if he has it, I'm going to ask him. I mean, that's normally kind of a faux pas. Like, that doesn't really happen. But, I mean, like, we can credit them. I'll credit them. I don't give a shit. I want to hear the full thing. And, if because there's sometimes I make decisions to not release information. That's fine, whatever. I'm not saying I have to release it, or we would even release it at the moment. But I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to release an edited. I'm going to release the whole thing or nothing. Basically, I'm not going to release, because here's what you do when you edit it. You make it seem really bizarre. You make it seem really strange. So just really quickly, I'm going to play it. It's 2 minutes. We're going to play it all the way through, and I'm not going to talk. Now, with everything that I gave you with the breakdown, listen to it and just make sense and try to find out. You tell me, I'll shut up and I'll put my thoughts aside. And if you tell me who the person behind the door is. Do we think the person behind the door is the homeowner, or do we think the person behind the door is the husband with the police officer and the victim? Which one do you think it is? Here we go.
Whitestown, yeah, server 4283 Maze Lane, 4283 Maze Lane. I have a male on the phone saying, please send the police now. There's somebody breaking in. Whitestown unit. He is telling me that it appears to be two Hispanic males trying to break in. That's all he could see, I'm sure, on weapons.
943, 1023. Dispatch 510, start medics.
943, 510, can you advise?
Dispatch, we got one shot. Yes, where's the homeowner?
He's still on TX with dispatch for seeing where the gun is and having him come down. He's upstairs in the bedroom. Hey, firm, we've got dispatch on the line with him. They're attempting to get him out now. Whitestown unit information. The suspect is scared to open the door. He does not see officers. He's asking you guys to take him into custody at the back door.
Have him walk out the back door and choose the backyard.
Clear 7704, Medic 272, ladder 271, 7704. Lawson's asking you to stay in the area. There was a male shot. The subject is not in custody or detained at this time.
I am. I can still hear him crying by the front door. He's not moved. Dispatch, if you're on the phone with him still, tell him to come to the back door.
I'm pausing this. They don't give a shit if the husband of the victim moves. They're not trying to get the husband of the victim to go anywhere. They're trying to get the man to go out the back door. He keeps saying, I'm upstairs. The officer says, I can still hear him crying by the front door, or behind the door. He's not moved. Does that make it, does it make it seem more realistic that he's talking about the man inside the house? Yeah, right. They don't know who. They don't know who. They don't think it's a husband or wife. They think there are two men there.
Time.
I am. I can still hear him crying by the front door. He's not moved.
Dispatcher, if you're on the phone with him still, tell him to come to the back door with his hands up outside, please.
I'm trying to get him to come to the back door. He is continuously talking about the person laying on the front porch and the officers having their guns pointed. He does not want to come out the back door.
Dispatch, where is he at in the house?
He's upstairs in the middle of the house in the loft.
Yeah, the male with a gunshot wound behind the white van. He got a gunshot wound to the head. Is it possible to get a spotlight on the top windows here?
If you have an officer free to drag this victim behind this house across the street, we can intercept at behind the house across the street.
Law enforcement on scene, Maze, ladder 231 is asking if you guys get the subject behind the house across the street so they can help.
Yeah, this is after the shooting. This is all after the shooting.
I don't think that's possible right now.
I've got the male walking down the stairs. He and his wife are going to be walking out the back door here in just a second.
Clear, I'm on the back side of the house. Someone come over here with me if they're coming out.
He is going to have his cell phone in his hand when he walks outside.
That's
Hey, tell him to drop
nonsense.
that. Don't have anything
Tell
in his
him
hands.
to drop. That's so
He
nonsense.
and his wife should be coming out the back door here in just a second. 600 on dispatch 2. So just coming out of the back door. 526 requesting 2 additional.
Dispatch, we have 2 detained.
Person on scene, Maze information. Medics are advising patient is 10-0.
All right, that's that. The age of the homeowner, we don't know that it's the shooter, the collective intellectual. We don't know. The age of the male homeowner is 62 years old. I can tell you that. I don't know. That's all I can tell you. I have not identified the name of the homeowner is floating around out there. It's not difficult to find. I'm not releasing it. They have still not released it. No. The collective intellectual. So the person that was shot and fell on the porch and was there with the police, and fell in her husband's arms. And the husband was like taking care of her. The police arrive, and then while the police are doing their stuff, they get them eventually out by the van, out of the way, but still not in the area where medics can get to them. So they're not going to drag the wife and leave the man up on the porch. He's going to be with the wife. So they get the victim out, which they still think is a male. They get that person out by the van, and then paramedics later say, can someone drag them behind the house? And the cops say, no, we can't. That's not possible yet. This is a very strange thing. I think what they need to do is release all of the tape as soon as possible. I get they got an investigation to do. Stumblefoot, I think, asked, what's the prosecutor's next move? That's the big question. That's the big deal. Well, I say we probably won't get a response until next week. I don't think we're going to see anything major this week. I think he's going to be very methodical and thorough with it, and he's going to try to cross all of his T's and dot all of his I's. I still fully believe that this is a horrible tragedy. I hate this for the woman. I hate it for her children. Hate it for her husband, her extended family. I don't see charges coming out of this. Soul Linings. So do you think there were additional people in the house not mentioned in the dispatch call that was behind the door crying? No, I think probably what happened was what we know of at this moment is there was a husband and a wife. A husband and a wife. Could there have been a juvenile in there that wasn't mentioned? It's possible, but I'm going to tell you, and I apologize for getting on you, but the thing is, I think that you probably have something to offer, especially with what you've been through. But we just have to be very careful. You've got to let the shit fall where it falls, and then find out what happens. We don't know. I don't know. There very well could be. I'm not going to say that until we know, because that would be harmful. I said yesterday, what's the possibility that the shooter was a juvenile? You know, maybe that was the case. I don't know. I don't think there's possibility to it. That's just a possible piece. It's okay. It's okay to speculate, as long as you say, I'm speculating, and you throw all this out there to talk about the ideas. But it's harmful to be like, I think this is happening, or this is what's happened. You know, to say it as a definitive is very, very scary. Yesterday, or the day we were talking about this, we talked about the fact that the bullet hole was higher and the head length, and I was talking to Brandon, and Brandon said, well, you know, how tall are you, Kate? 5'0". Kate's 5'0". Kate is 5'0". Okay. My brother is 6'5". So if my brother raised his hand up to where you would sight a gun,
it'd probably still be over my head.
I don't even know he could hit Kate in the head. It would be over Kate's head.
I think my husband, he's just under 6 foot. I think him, if he ever pointed his arm straight out with the weapon, it would be right at my head. Yeah.
Because maybe even his arm's not, but then the barrel, the bore axis is going to be up higher than where your hand is. Yeah. So that's a very good possibility. I'm asking because how else would somebody be? Let me pull this up, because this. I mean, I want to clear up any kind of confusion. How else would someone be behind the door crying and they would not be taking them into custody? Because the door's not open. The door's not open. The door was not open. I don't understand. I don't understand the difficulty in this. I'm gonna draw a picture. Okay. I'm gonna draw a picture. Wall, and here's the door. Here's the door. I'm gonna write door. And I'm gonna have a victim laying here. And I'm gonna have husband kneeling by the person. And I'm gonna have two police officers. I'm gonna have a police officer here and a police officer here looking at the door. And then I'm gonna have a person back here at the door. And I'm gonna show you. Okay. So watch this. So this very crude drawing, you have the victim and the husband right here, and you have a police officer here and a police officer here, and here you have the house and the door, and then right over here behind the door, you have a person. The reason they wouldn't be taking them into custody is because the door's not open. The reason they're not busting the door down is because they're standing there looking at a person bleeding right there down with a gunshot wound to the head. They're looking at a door with a bullet hole in it. And they don't know, just because someone's talking to dispatch, they don't know who's on the other side of that door and what they're doing. So they're not just going to kick that door open and have some kind of crazy ass gunfight. They're trying to say, okay, if dispatch is on the phone with the person inside the house, and the person inside the house is claiming that they're good guys, and, they were just afraid victims, then put the gun down and come outside. So they first tried to get him to come out the front door. They were hoping that he was going to do that. And the guy told dispatch, no, because I still see a person laying on the porch and I don't see any police out front. So then, and we haven't heard this. I don't know if it was the dispatcher's suggestion or the homeowner's suggestion, but one of them brought up the suggestion, we'll go out the back door. So then the dispatch tells the law enforcement officers, I'm trying to get him out the back door. He actually said, she says to the police, he said they'll go out the back door, take him into custody there. So she had already talked to them about that. And so then they were still not going out the back door. And then there's the confusion. And with two people in the house, one person could be upstairs and one person could be downstairs. And the very last little bit of dispatch that we heard there says that the wife was actually on the phone with dispatch too. So you got two people in the house and they're both on the phone with dispatch. We don't know where the people were. Maybe she was crying behind the door. Maybe he's upstairs, and maybe he's running from upstairs to downstairs to upstairs to downstairs like a freaked out maniac that just shot somebody and is afraid and is getting ready to go out and get arrested and doesn't know what's going on. It's total chaos at scenes like this. And this is not abnormal by any stretch of the imagination. This is not an abnormal situation. It's abnormal because of what happened. What's not abnormal is the chaos of what's happening. That's what's not abnormal. It's very common saying like, well, I don't know how somebody could be upstairs and also being downstairs, or, why weren't they? That's a fallacy to there's lots of ways that could be happening. And I'm not putting you down by saying that. That's just there's lots of ways that could happen. No. I'm not saying that there was listen, there's nobody that they didn't. Anybody inside the house got taken into custody. It's what you're saying literally makes no sense. Think about this. Well, if the homeowner was inside and upstairs, and if the police officer hears someone behind the door crying, are you telling me that you don't think it's possible, if there's two people in the house, for one person to be upstairs on the phone saying I'm upstairs and for the other person to be downstairs crying? If you've got two people, so what we're talking about is a house where we have to have two people in two different positions, and we happen to have two people in the house. So is it possible that those two people could be in two positions in the house? We don't know the timeline of this phone call, okay? Keep it, because this has been edited. So that's the other thing you got to be careful with. Listen.
The suspect is scared to open the door. He does not see officers. He's asking you guys to take him into custody at the back door.
Have him walk out the back door and choose back.
From the time she says that thing about the back door and the time that the officer says the thing about the back door, that could have happened a minute apart from each other. And it's been edited. We don't know. All right, continue on.
Clear 7704, Mike 272, ladder 271, 770 gun is having him come down. He's upstairs in the bedroom.
Okay, listen.
Josh, where's the homeowner?
Where's the homeowner?
He's still on TX with dispatch for seeing where the gun is and having him come down. He's upstairs in the bedroom.
We're having him come downstairs. He's upstairs in the bedroom. Now, that time and this.
Hey, firm, we've got dispatch on the line with him. They're attempting to get him out now. Whitestown units information. The suspect is scared to open the door. He does not see officers. He's asking you guys to take him into custody at the back door.
Have him walk out the back door and choose backyard.
Clear 7704, Mike 272, ladder 271, 7704. Lawson's asking you to stay in the area. There was a male shot. The subject is not in custody or detained at this time.
I am. I can still hear him crying by the front door. He's not moved.
We don't know what kind of time period any of this happened. It's also, I mean, this is not a mansion that they're in. It's very possible that you've got a guy who's scared to death, who's running from upstairs to downstairs and looking out the door. At one point, he looks and says, I don't see anybody. Then he runs to the back and he's looking out the back. I'm going to go out the back. Then he runs upstairs. I mean, that's very possible inside a house. All that I need to prove that is, I don't even know what goes on. I don't know where you live. I don't know how big your house is. But all I need you to do is stand up and move from one room into the next room and tell me how long that takes you. Like if you can move from your kitchen into your living room, or your living room into the bedroom, into the bathroom, and if you can do that in a matter of seconds, then what I'm saying here is extremely possible. So that's all the more I can say on that. So the wife, husband inside, and the husband outside were on the phone with dispatch, but cops said person behind the door hadn't moved and was crying, just asking. Yeah, yep, that is exactly what's happening. Now, I don't know the times of when the wife was inside. Maybe the wife called at a different time. Maybe she called a couple times. Maybe they called her back. I don't know. What I do know for a fact is the homeowner called at 6:49. They say 5 minutes into that call at 6:54, the homeowner fired a weapon. And then 3 minutes later, the Mercurio called at 6:57. So in a total of seven minutes, a first call was made, a person shot somebody, and then another call was made. At least another call was made in 7 minutes. So yeah, that's all very possible. Very, very possible. No, it did not say they were both upstairs.
Dispatcher, if you're on the phone with him still, tell him to come to the back door with his hands up outside, please.
I'm trying to get him to come to the back door. He is continuously talking about the person laying on the front porch and the officers having their guns pointed. He does not want to come out the back door.
Dispatch, where is he at in the house?
He's upstairs in the middle of the house in the loft.
Yeah, the male with a gunshot wound behind the white van. You got a gunshot.
He was in the loft. So time will tell. This will all be released. As a lot of it will be released, and we'll have a bigger picture. And look, here's the deal. I feel like the law will be applied. What happens, the law will be applied. If there's something here and the man gets charged, or the shooter, whoever the shooter is, gets charged, depending on what they say, I'll have to see. I mean, because people can be charged, it goes both ways. But I feel like unless there's something that they bring out, I still stand behind the fact that I don't think this person should be charged. That's that. All right, you guys take care. God bless. Have a good evening. Goodbye.